Hello, Physio practice owners. If you want to know how to double, triple, or even 7x the money you spend on Google ads and YouTube ads, then this is the episode for you. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. It's called How to Create Google and YouTube Retargeting Ads. Now, this is a special edition of Google and YouTube ads. It's all about retargeting. If you're after just Google or YouTube ads, there are separate podcasts for them. I encourage you to go watch that. But what this episode is all about is taking those ads to another level in the sense of retargeting. Now, this framework, this A to Z framework I'm about to share with you, works for practices, for businesses that are multinational, have multiple practices all over the country, all the way down to if you're just starting out your physio practice, even in that, your parents' garage or something like that, right? Works all across. And when it comes to ads or the type of ads, retargeting ads are by far the most profitable, all right? Ones that will create the most revenue and the bang for buck, so to speak. And I'll share with you exactly why that is. Now, before I do that, I just want to talk about why Google and YouTube ads are retargeting is a critical component, why that is such a big thing when it comes to taking your physio practice to the next level, right? And it all comes down to what we call the total patient matrix. A certain person in your community belongs when it comes to being a new patient in your practice. There's few levels to it, and it's basically breaking it down where they belong in it, right? For example, someone's looking for a physio right now compared to someone's not even thinking about physio and they know they don't need physio. So it's about breaking it down. Now, why retargeting is important is that when it comes to people coming into your website or anyone who gets to know about you, about 97% of those people don't book on their very first visit. So 3% of people are in this patient matrix. If you're watching us on video, you can see the total patient matrix. They're looking to buy right now, meaning that they're at a stage where they need a solution right now and they're looking for physio. That's 3%. Everyone else is not that, all right? So the reason why retargeting is important is for the people that are not the 3%. In other words, the 97% of people who don't book on their first visit to your website. All right? That's the biggest thing. And what we find is that for someone to become a patient in your practice, we need to have lots of touch points. In other words, your marketing or your message needs to be in front of them enough times. We find 12 to 15 times minimum, all right, for those 97% of people. All right, so retargeting is important because it allows you to do that for the people who don't book in your practice straight away. Right? And most patients tend to research multiple options before deciding. And they might get busy, life might get in the way, they might, almost make that phone call or almost book an appointment at your physio practice, but they don't, right? So retargeting, getting your message in front of them again becomes a very important reason as to why retargeting actually, is important, right? So, and if you're not doing retargeting to this massive pool of people, 97 of people in your entire community, you are likely losing them to your competitors. All right, think about that for a second. If you're not doing the retargeting, you're probably losing them to your competitors because they might be doing the same thing. In other words, your competitors are getting a lot more touch points for that patient. Therefore, they're more likely to convert over to them. All right. So the simple fix for this is obviously doing retargeting ads, and people who've interacted with especially people who've been to your website, you bring them back and you show your message in front of them enough times, that up to 12 to 15 times until they are ready to book. All right. That's literally the simple fix. And Google display, all right, and YouTube ads is a great way of retargeting to keep your practice top of mind until they are ready to book. And the biggest thing with this is that it massively lowers your cost per patient and it'll increase the number of new patients you get. Because remember, you're not just targeting that 3% of people who are looking to book, you're targeting the 97% of people, which is the largest amount. So, and because they are in the market cycle, in the buying cycle, they're not as valuable as the 3% who are looking for a solution right now. A lot of people tend to go for the 3%, but they don't know how to be in front of the 97% of people. All right, therefore they're cheaper, and those people, if you do the things right, as I'm about to sort of share with you in this episode, you have a high chance of getting them as a new patient at much, much lower cost. All right. So where do these Google and YouTube ads, YouTube retargeting ads appear, and where do they work, right? One of the places is called the Google Display Network. Now, just think about it for a second. You might have gone to, let's just say, gone to Nike or something like that, and you want to buy a pair of shoes, but you didn't purchase, right? And all of a sudden, you see these banner ads everywhere, even on Facebook, even on websites. You see these ads everywhere, right? Now, those are retargeting ads. Those websites that you see in those retargeting ads, they are part of the Google Display Network. Okay. Now, these typically tends to be this network is, websites, news sites, blogs, apps. That's where they tend to appear. All right, your Google Display Network. So YouTube ads, obviously, if you're using YouTube, these ads appear before videos. They might even appear in the middle of videos. They even appear on search, search as in Google, and they become recommended videos as well. Retargeting ads also appear on Google search. So you can create ads. When somebody searches on Google, you can retarget your same ads to it. And that's where they tend to appear. Right. So how does retargeting work on Google and YouTube? Right. So quite simply, when somebody comes and lands on your website, visit your website, but they don't take a specific action, they don't either call you or they don't book online, you can track these people and get them to encourage them to either call you or book an appointment online. Right? And you can follow them across Google and YouTube until they do. Remember the touch points, 12 to 15? You'll have a chance to do that until they take that action. Right? But when they see your ad multiple times, when they've had enough touch points, they are more likely to book with you. It's just how the market cycle works. Right? So who can you retarget? Now, this is probably the most important part of retargeting. You need to get this one right. All right. So if there's anything that you want to take away, it's this one. This is the one. All right. If there's anything you want to take away from this podcast, this is the one you want to really take away. So who can you retarget? These are the people who visited your website, but they didn't either call you or didn't book with you. Right? Right? Those are the people that are fitting into that 97% of people. So people who watch 25% of your YouTube videos. Now, there's another podcast episode that we released in terms of, how to create different, all sorts of YouTube ads for the whole market. Obviously, we're talking about retargeting ads. You might have videos on YouTube. You might have a channel with, showing how to do certain stretches, exercises, prevention, all that kind of thing. So you can target people who watch 25% of any of those videos. All right. Now, you might think this is a reason why you should create consistent content on YouTube as well, because it allows you to target people who have watched your videos for 25% of the time. Now, you might wonder, 25% doesn't seem that high enough. You're right. It doesn't seem so, but that's all you need. If someone's watched 25% of your YouTube video, that means there's some sort of interest. There's some interest on what you had to say they were interested in. And you can target these people. Here's someone else you can target. Your past patients who haven't booked in months. All right, so you can create a custom list around it. All right, get the actual list and you can use that to retarget them. All right, and another segment is anyone who's clicked on your ad before but didn't take any action that you wanted them to. For example, book a call or, book an appointment or make a call. All right, those are the segments you can create. Those are the people that you can target or retarget using Google retargeting and YouTube retargeting ads. Okay, so Google display ads appears on around 90% of websites around the world. That's a lot of websites. You might notice that if you go to a website, random website, you'll see these little sections appearing on that website. Those websites make money by allowing space for Google ads, right? So this is why it's very important that you create Google display ads, because if your patient who's been to your website goes to any of these websites that have banner ads, you can have your ad on that regardless of what that website is. All right, it's really good to get those touch points up, keeping your practice on top of mind. All right, obviously YouTube ads appear before a video or during a video. They're really good for enforcing credibility and authority. You can showcase, for example, your patient testimonials, a little bit about your practice, all that kind of thing. You can do it on YouTube ads. Okay, so how do you set up Google and YouTube ads for retargeting? How do you set retargeting ads? Well, step one is you're going to install the Google Tag Manager and the Google Ads Pixel on your website. So if you haven't got already, go to Google Tag Manager. Just Google Google Tag Manager. If you haven't got an account, very easy to sign up. Sign up, all right? And you'll go through the steps in creating an actual Tag Manager account, Google Tag Manager account. And in that, you should be able to get a Google Tag Manager code, all right? Get that code along with the code that's in your Google Ads. Get those two codes and put it on your website. All right. So this way, Google knows exactly what patients are doing on your website. If you don't have that, you're literally missing out on 97% of the people that come to your website. And if you are one of the 97% that don't do anything on the first time, I'm okay to forget about you. That's basically what you're saying. If you haven't already, get your Google Tag Manager and your Google Ads Pixel code, both those codes, onto your website. That's step one. Step two is create custom audiences in your Google Ads, right? So in how to create the ads, this is a critical part, right? So the best ones that work is you can create a custom audience in Google Ads, right, for website visitors in the last 30 to 90 days. Now, you can do it for longer, right? But the risk you'll run if you do it for, more than 90 days is that if you haven't had enough touch points in the last 90 days, they are basically a cold audience. There's a big chance that they are not going to remember you. Now, obviously, you're going to have some people who will, but the large majority of people won't remember you after 90 days. 30 to 90 days, that's a long enough and a short enough time period so people can remember a little bit about you. Okay, so you can create an audience specifically for 30 to 90 days ago who visited your website, right? Like I mentioned, people who watch 25% of any of your YouTube videos. All right, so anyone who's in your website, someone who's been to your website hasn't taken any action, you can say the same thing about YouTube videos. Anyone who's watched 25% of your videos, they're interested. They were at least interested to a certain degree. All right, so these are no longer a cold audience. You can create a custom audience around them as well, right? And obviously, like I mentioned, your past patients, all right, to reactivate them. There is no better audience than your past patients. And a lot of practices forget this one. They've already been to your practice. They've paid money to be there, which means they are the best people to keep getting back to your practice. Now, doing this custom audience is like having a receptionist calling up your past patients and getting them back onto your diary. It's that powerful. Okay, so you can create an audience around your past patient, right? And then you can create a lookalike audience based on your best patients or the avatar. In your past patient list, you might have a few people maybe 10, maybe 100 patients that you really, really want to attract more of. And you can use that audience to create a lookalike audience. So what Google can do is using the demographics and attributes of the, let's just say 100 people that you want to attract or that you really like to attract more of, they will have a certain demographic profile about them. And Google knows about that. It'll look at the entire database of people that you're targeting, for example, in your area. They'll ask themselves, okay, this is the lookalike, this is the 100 people that we want to get more of. Who else out of these 1,000 people are like that? And then you retarget to that. Think about how powerful that is, right? You can literally get your messaging across to your best patients that haven't come to your practice yet. It's a very, very powerful step. Okay. Now, step 3 is creating Google display and retargeting ads. So these are the banner ads, right? A good tool to use to do this is Canva, Adobe Express. You can literally go, I want to create some Google display ads, and it'll give you lots of templates and you can start playing around with it. Canva and Adobe Express are really, really great at this. And then you obviously run these banner ads across that Google network that I talked about before. And one of the best things to get on these banner ads is your guarantee. Now, if you don't have a guarantee, once again, we've created podcasts around creating a guarantee. I really recommend that you go watch them and create a guarantee that's specific for your practice and the type of patient you're trying to attract, right? Once you've created that, you can actually use the guarantee in the display ad, all right? Because if you have a strong guarantee and you have many touch points with a strong guarantee, that your likelihood of converting that person becomes even higher. But, all in all, you can use simple messages in these targeting ads like, still in back pain or still in pain, still looking for a physio, a question mark, book now. Another really powerful way to create retargeting ads, and this is a big hack, is let's just say somebody went to your website and they went to the low back pain section or low back pain page of your website. You know that they were looking for more information on low back pain. So the chances are that they actually had low back pain, right? You can get your messaging across or in front of them over and over again, retarget them with the same message. So you can create banner ads that are specific on lower back pain. So it could be something like still in lower back pain or still got lower back pain, come and see our physio. So make it very specific to that. All right. And you can have a look at through your Google Analytics where people land the most. Look at the top 5 pages people go to, right? And create an ad specifically around them. Display ad. So, and you can do the same thing in obviously YouTube ads, but obviously they need to be in video format. So how you do this is literally through your phone. You can use the camera on your phone is perfectly fine to use for these ads, right? So remember the people who we can retarget, right? So people who've gone to your website, but they haven't either called you or haven't booked an appointment, the people who've watched some of your YouTube videos, 25% of it, and the people who've clicked on your ad, right? The biggest thing when it comes to YouTube ads or any YouTube ad, and obviously retargeting ads as well, is the first 5 seconds. The time before someone can skip. So it needs to be very, very strong, okay? That first 5 seconds needs to be very strong and very relevant to that person. You don't want to just want to put an ad out there, they're going to skip it. I mean, you can create ads that they can't skip, but the chances are, if they're not interested, you want them to skip because it'll be cheaper for you just to get them to skip. But if you have an ad that you don't want them to skip, it's going to be more expensive, right? You don't know if that ad works or not, especially when it comes to retargeting ads, right? So once again, you can have a look at the most visited pages in your website through your Google Analytics, and you can create YouTube ads or YouTube video specifically around them. But the first 5 seconds need to be very, very strong. It needs to hook the viewer in. For example, let's just go with the lower back pain. You know, the hook could be, if your back pain hasn't gone away, here's what to do next. All right. Now, you know, if you retarget the people who've been to your lower back pain page, who haven't taken any action, and you see that ad, is going to be very relevant to them. So the chances of them actually watching the video will improve or increase, and the chances of them skipping it obviously decrease. And chances of them actually coming back to your website and taking that action you want them to take, either call you or book an appointment, will go up, right? It'll increase, right? So the hook, the first 5 seconds, is absolutely critical. You must get that right, get their attention straight away. If you don't, they're going to skip it. All right. So what are some great practices when it comes to high converting retargeting ads? Right. So when it comes to Google display ones, these are the banner ads. Right. Short and clear works really, really well. Okay. Let's just say a lot of people have come to your homepage. Literally what you can say on the banner is, still looking for physio, book now. All right. Obviously you can use images of your practice, maybe people treating your lower back pain, or somebody with some lower back pain in the actual image, things like that to get attention. All right. But keeping it short and clear is a very good way to do it. Remember, Canva and Adobe Express are really great to do it. Another great ad copy that works really well for Google Display is offer and guarantee based. All right. For example, if you haven't got an offer, I really recommend that you go watch the episode or listen to the podcast episode about creating offers and get one for your practice. Because if you have one, that can be the single message that gets the attention of people and get new patients through the door. So get that guarantee, and you can have that in the display ad as well. And another form is what we call trust building. Through maybe your Google reviews, you've got great Google reviews, you can literally, have those reviews up on that display ad. Right. Now, remember, some medical bodies around the world, you can't promise patients what they can expect, right? Because somebody else has gone. That's unethical for them. But you can definitely say, this is what our patients had to say about us. Right? You can say that because that's true. You're not promising anything, but you're saying this is what they have said about you. So you can use your Google reviews as a part of your display ad to create credibility as well. All right. So the best retargeting video ad formula. Here's the best retargeting video ad formula for YouTube retargeting ads. Okay. So the hook is still dealing with back pain. Watch this. All right. Remember, if somebody's been to low back pain, low back pain page, that's a really strong ad to show in front of them. So hook is the first one. Value is, here's what most people get wrong about recovery. Okay. Or you could say something like, here's what most people get wrong about treating their lower back pain. At the end of the video, though, you need to have a clear call to action. All right. So it could be something like, click to book your appointment now. Something very, very simple. But the first part of that video needs to hook them in, needs to create value in what you're trying to get for them. It needs to be all about the value. Now, a good video, you don't want to have an ad that's longer than 30 seconds. 15 seconds, it's more than enough. You can create ads for 15 seconds, but no more than 30 seconds, unless every bit of that video is punching a lot of value and it's very, very relevant. Okay. This way you can keep your production costs and how much effort and energy you need to put into creating these ads fairly low. And you can create a lot of ads as well, so you can A/B test a lot. All right. So what's the budget that you should have for Google and YouTube ads retargeting? We recommend $3 to $5 per day per campaign for Google display. Right? YouTube retargeting, $5 to $10 per day. And you want to get a ROAS. In other words, so ROAS is turn on ad spend of 3x minimum. All right. Meaning every dollar you put into any of these campaigns, you should be getting $3 back. All right. That's what you really want. Okay. So let's talk about tracking and scaling these ads. When they're working, how can you take them to the next level? Well, when it comes to measuring success for your retargeting ads, because retargeting ads are by far the most effective type of ad, right, for your patients, you need to aim for a ROAS, so return on ad spend, of a minimum of 3, right? So every dollar that you spend, it should be returning you $3 back, right? And you want to have a look at a click-through rate, so the number of clicks on this ad, at 12%. You want to make sure that it's at least 12%, right? But the biggest one is your ROAS. If you want to forget about everything else, if your ROAS is more than 3, right? So every dollar you're putting in, you're getting $3 or more back, then you can spend more, right? At that point only. If you haven't done that, you haven't got the actual ad correct. Either your offer is a one message that will move the needle the most. Work on that first. So, get that really, really polished up. Then you put that in front of people, right? And then work on the actual video itself, or the banner ads, the actual ads itself, all right? So I hope that was useful. If that was useful, there's more podcasts like this on our website, physiomarketing.co. Head down there. There's lots of things to download as well. But if you're like most physio practice owners, you probably want an expert in somebody who knows how to grow and take physio practice to that next level to help you put all these things into your practice. If that's you, I want to encourage you to go to our website, once again, physiomarketing.co, and book a call with us, and we can talk about how to do that for you and with you. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.